Mamuina Aquaba at the Bank Assertivity for Yanani Nukonko and this Sakachi. Now, your honorable Seth Tekwe, honor the former finance minister, and also the personal economic advisor to the president, Abba Bonting, adding some phobia about Ghana economy, who sends some. Now, it's for first of all, Chimo sits in Ghana, Yesusuma in and celebrate because a bad damper said on a natural grounds a president to manage the economy and as a manage a nation for 4 solid years. I say for all encounter a year problem behind as a difficulties behind. Now, so the better just in Ghana, I share supplement so because I'm sure the next 4 years, never take for back encounter. One share, Mumba be a damper. Na eti fomsa so bisa no question sintin ebra aye senseless na rank Kufu Addo ni aye MVP Amanyɔkuo no ewo abem na eti fomo encounter so many problems especially aye the COVID-19 pandemics ne ɛho akeka ho asame no man to me be ya dimpa na so sabe no sei na beka ya aye NDC Amanyɔkuo no eto manugu super edidi aye MVP Amanyɔkuo no atam ekeka anse bebre so manage country resources ni ade na samreni na eye NDC Amanyɔkuo no be some trading nti about the send is here eye MVP Amanyɔkuo no atena kunya eye NDC Amanyɔkuo no atena kunya kese ne so ansana obeka che Ghana for sentino for instance it's not possible say a president and as it's not easy for a president to manage a nation for 4 years without encountering any difficulties it yen says apomusude let's take for instance some eye honorable Seth editu do an eye bubuja akwa and it yen say briefly no ekone ko distance mu ntwom bram da mu ina as
when the trend starts to reverse, make sure that you have reserves, right? To put back reserves, which is sacrifice. Reserve, which is sacrifice. To set reserves, as in households, as in businesses, is sacrifice, right? So when we create it and the shifts are occurring, then we will have to fall on it, to make sure that we stabilize the situation because it's good to stabilize and to sustain reforms. Now, you spoke about revenue.
Were revenue being affected? Was that a major consideration?
Of course, revenue would have to be.
Import levy was being hit?
Wait a minute. Yes, because our revenue today is a factor. Yeah. And I'm saying, let me illustrate. Our revenue today, right? And I'm talking revenue, not tax revenue. Our revenue today is about 15%. Right? 17%.
Okay. Tax GDP ratio?
Yes.
Okay.
The tax GDP ratio is around 15%.
Okay.
The revenue is around 17-18%. But as a middle income country that we have become, it is our tax to GDP ratio that should be 17%, 18%. Even for an African country. It is not 15%. And that is why, we are the president, the minister, and others have spoken about getting technical assistance in order to bring the VAT regime back to where it was. And then the president said it would affect the entire, revenue consideration when the debates were going on. And therefore, the levies that are being imposed, we have had a temporary levy policy where, you have sunset clauses. You use them during austerity and then you remove them. In other words, they are similar to your counter-cyclical measures. When you, so, and let me use a practical example, which is true. When we went into COVID globally, right? You remember that's when Zoom, and telephony and things, hit a boom, right? Therefore, that's when, and because many of these are done through the banking sector, that's when you have your FinSec levy. Because it is not the whole sector that is depressed. There's a sector that is doing well on account of we being at home. And therefore, meetings were being done on the laptop, on the phone, and whatever. It means that sector, is booming. So you put a temporary levy on it, right? You put a temporary levy on it. Of course, a time will come when COVID will be over. And it did. Right? And today, yes, there's some stability in the use of Zoom and the other, but it's not at the peak when it was, in a crisis, when they were favorable. So, to summarize again, all that we are saying is that you cannot manage an economy without crisis. You cannot manage an economy continuously for 4 years 3-4 years without one crisis or the right. Right? Mpox. Mpox is in the news.
Yeah.
Right? How are we preparing for it? Or how did we prepare for it? Have we put some reserves, learning from COVID, so that when Mpox comes, we fall on those reserves, to manage? And that is when the reserves you are keeping, because you would have to tackle it. That's when you take the reserves, right, to manage it. I mean, this is not saying you are manipulating the markets. No, you are only managing the economy because.
And the question they are asking is, can a self-confessed errand boy be privy to, understand, and appreciate national security operations and the funding thereof? Regrettably, there's nothing in this witness statement which incriminates the accused person. These are the words of the lawyers. I don't know what the position that the judge will take, but these are the words of the lawyers. And we're sharing it with you as a matter of public interest. Now, he's saying here that the person that is your witness statement says of himself that I'm an errand boy to Kwabena Dubois. He sent me to go and buy him Yokogari and sends me to go and buy him Wache and sends me to the bank and sends me to do everything. He said, okay, how many times did he send you to the bank? He said, oh, he sends me to the bank every Wednesday. About how much money do you collect? Hey, it's a lot of money. Oh, hey, my boss, when he sends me to the bank, money is in Ghana, must go back. It's a lot. What do you do with the money? Well, when I take it from the bank, sometimes I bring it to him. Sometimes I bring it here. And then it appears he was asked, do you send some to his wife? Because there's a headline who says that I did not send any money to Kwabena Dubois. So he says, no, I didn't send any money to his wife. So the conversation here is that if you are prosecuting a boss and you want to find out that the boss of a national security system has misappropriated money, the way to do it is not to call his errand boy and say, yeah, he's sent to go to the bank. He doesn't know what it is for. He doesn't know. He just goes to collect the money and he brings it. But that is one of the principal witnesses for the prosecution. And the defense lawyers are suggesting that this might not work. But it depends on what the court will do. The next one, prosecution witness statement of Edith Ruby Opoku Edumoa. And he says that, can we assume that the witness has obtained national security clearance to violate his oath of confidentiality and testify on matters of national security consequence and ramifications? As paragraph 7, the witness states the following, quote, the operational accounts, however, were managed by the director of the BNC and supervised by the National Security Coordinator. The defense lawyers are suggesting to us that inside the witness statement, there's a line which really reveals everything. And tonight we have letters to show you that indeed, bosses of Kwabena Dubois supervised the work that he was doing with those humongous sums of money. It says the operational, this is the witness speaking, that the operational account, this is a witness who works there. This is not just an errand boy. This is somebody who works there, and that's why they're asking whether he has had national security clearance. Anyway, you may say that the government can clear him and they don't have to tell the defense counsel. That's possible. But let's look here. 7 paragraph. It says, the operational accounts, however, were managed by the director of the BNC, which is the first accused Kwabena Dubois, and supervised by the National Security Coordinator. So the question is, National Security Coordinator, did you truly supervise this account? Then if the prosecution is concerned about the way the accounts were supervised, they can charge the National Security Coordinator as A2 if they want. Let's move on and see a little bit more. Thus, he continues, thus checks were written upon the instructions of the director of the BNC, and the reasons for payments were never disclosed to the head of finance. So the guy says that